at the trailer, Humanity Ascending, of your film or story. And in this film, you describe how humanity is at the threshold of a profound paradigm shift. You name it the evolution from Homo sapiens sapiens to Homo universalis, because in this phase of our development, human beings recognize for the first time that they are co-creators with nature and spirit, so that they are expression of the evolutionary process itself. And it's a completely new dimension. It opens completely new ways of being and of acting together. Well, I found it very helpful, the idea too that the crisis can be interpreted and seen as an evolutionary driver, and not at the end of something, but at the birth of something new emerging. But a question that a lot of people asked after understanding the process of evolution is, okay, but how can we do that? How can we get into action? What could be the next steps to do that? And you have developed in the 70s a wonderful, brilliant model of social synergy called the Wheel of Co-Creation. Yeah. And perhaps you can tell something about it. And we'll have a projection of the model with the 12 segments of the societal body, because I find it a very, very helpful model to take actions.
Well, the Wheel of Co-Creation is actually our turn on the spiral of evolution. If you look at the whole evolutionary spiral from the formation of energy, matter, life, and put Earth right in this turn of the spiral, we'll see first of all, hub of the wheel represent the spiritual impulse of creation coming through me right now. I mean, why are we motivated? Why would that, thank you. Why would you and I, Michelle and Hubba, be motivated? It's the core of that spiral. You see, it's that arc of evolution. And it comes through a form of spiritual, occasional arousal. Did you understand that spiritually motivated case? Mm-hmm. That drops up to express unique genius in health, education, economics, science and technology. So every sector at Wheel of Co-Creation is an organic function in the social body. Mm-hmm. Every system, as in health, education, or governance, is breaking down. It is also true that every system is breaking through toward a sustainable, evolvable, spiritually fulfilling, and indeed magnificent world. So the key is to connect that which is already emerging and discover the synergy among the parts, common goals, matching needs with resources, to find the greater potential of the whole. So actually we move toward a more synergistic democracy, a more cooperative form of decision-making instead of win-lose voting. We are developing how to find common goals and match our own needs with other people's resources, so that social synergy creates more energy, more creativity, and even in the deepest sense, more spiritual love. When we realize it's not just needing each other, it's fulfilling each other, actualizing the potential of each other. So we have used that wheel. In its first instance, we did 25 conferences in schools and auditoriums where we actually drew the wheel on the floor, and we had walls, and we had people meet in the sectors of their desire to create. And then we took down walls between sectors for people to actually face-to-face seek common goals and match needs and resources. That was before internet, in the 70s. Then I ran for vice president in 1984 of the United States on a Democratic ticket. And I suggested that we create a new social function as sophisticated as a war room. I called it a peace room, to scan for, map, connect, and communicate what's working in every field. Now the design, and of course I got nominated actually, because it's a good idea, really. And when I met Michelle and the Design Me a Planet, I am very delighted that you're interested in using the wheel so people can put their creative designs in the sector of the wheel where they organically belong, and that you can cultivate interactions at a local level, at a regional level, you can do it on internet, and I believe the only thing that could move quickly enough to move from this crisis toward a sustainable environment particularly, would be nonlinear, exponential connecting of what's already created. We are so focused on the problems, which is important, but we're much less focused on the innovations and creative solutions and powerful genius in every field. And I would say my personal goal in life now is in the next 5 years, Michelle, this would be for you, yes. For Design Me a Planet. Yes. This is a kind of thought that comes out of the studies of chaos theory, is that when a system is out of equilibrium, it tries to go back to right itself, but it cannot go back. We're very reactionary in many ways now. So what it does is it tries to find a new structure that could release more of its potential. It has to go somewhere. And right at this moment, the strange attractor of the new structure, I believe we could create a nucleus of people in every field who are strange attractors because we are attracted to some creative potential, and by joining as a nucleus of strange attractors for the next structure of evolution, which I think the wheel of co-creation is a model to use, that we might be able to take the quantum jump quickly enough to avoid a very violent breakdowns instead of a more gentle transition. The transition is happening, but our choice is it to be violent or can we make it more gentle? And I believe connecting what's already created and seeing the design of it. The design Me a Planet is only I've in my head what already happened. Huge numbers of things are already being designed. So all the new design should come into the peak what's already being designed, because the emerging world is in our midst.
Yes, great. Barbara, we would like to have a little bit time for questions from the audience.
Yes. Hello.
I have a question. I was answering about the question how the youth is looking to the future, and I want to have your point of view as an American woman who is involved in a lot of projects in politics also. What do you think, how the youth is going to be involved in the future, and particularly in Europe with the situation of Europe today?
Well, I think the current structures in politics, as well in governance and in education and in healthcare, are mainly top-down structures, pyramid structures, which, like in the United States of America particularly, you can see the oppositional forces have paralyzed our government. And the corporate powers are controlling it, but it's paralyzed. All the action is among the people who are innovating and creating and using the internet and networking to make the change. I don't think it can come from the top of any existing structure on Earth. I don't think it can come from big global corporations. It can't come from the Vatican. It can't come from China. We just came back from the Chinese Forum on Ecological Civilization, led by Irvin Laszlo, brought a group of Americans over to China. And there is a country with immense growth needs, moving vast millions of citizens into cities, which they are building, and they know that they can destroy their own environment. And so where is the power coming from to quickly make this connection? Let's call it the nucleus of the strange attractor. Let's call it the people who are, like at this conference that I'm speaking to, are joining together. We need one more degree of connectivity. I believe there are millions, even hundreds of millions of people like us around the world right now. And one more degree of connectivity of the people who are already creating or yearn to create or have created a desire to give more. We are the pioneering souls of Earth. And although I think it's valuable to try to go into existing power systems, it's the least likely to make the change because they are holding the system for the new to show up. And so the Design Me a Planet idea is open to everybody. And if the Design Me a Planet creates a holistic design, something like that wheel, so that the body can self-organize according to its own innovations, we're going to see the newborn civilization in our midst, and that becomes the attractor to the rest of the people who think maybe that things are failing, or who only want to think of themselves. We have to attract. For example, in the United States, when Thomas Jefferson wrote, "All men are created equal," there was no equality anywhere. But the idea was self-evidently true. And it motivated hundreds of millions of people to move. I would like to say a next statement that could activate the next level after all men are created equal. Here it is. All people are born creative, endowed by our Creator with the inalienable right and responsibility to express that creativity for the good of the self and the whole. Design Me a Planet is a call for the creativity of humanity to connect. I would put more faith in that than I would of trying to go to the European governments or to the United States governments. I think they can be informed by the Design Me a Planet, that this is where the design is going, and that I believe the governments are actually in a very difficult position to try to change the structures from the top. I believe that this is where the power is, exactly where you are. The power is wherever people are joining together to co-create. But we need the structural model, so that every single person knows where they fit in this process. And I'd like to give a simple idea. You know, in the 60s, the human potential movement began in the United States and elsewhere. And we had the self-actualizing person from Abraham Maslow's writings. That's a person whose work was self-rewarding and of service. Those were the people who were joyful, beneficent, happy, was when you find your life purpose and can give it. So I believe we're entering the social potential movement now. And we're discovering self-actualizing society that is coming from that yearning to express, create our vocation, our life purpose, connected with others to show the design of new culture. And I believe it's a co-creative culture.